Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Yes, and at the end we can say good morning, good afternoon, and good night again.
That movie with Jim Carrey, what was the movie? The Truman Show.
Yes.
One of
His
my
whole life
favorite
as a
shows.
television show.
I was
Great movie.
Jim Carrey is one of the most underrated actors in the world. Bar
I
none.
would agree. He's one of the most supremely talented entertainers in the history of entertainment.
He really
So,
is.
yeah.
Did you see the movie he did on Andy Kaufman?
Yes.
Man in the
Man in
Moon.
the Moon. Yeah. Named after the REM song.
I mean, he absolutely just nailed him just
Dave
perfectly.
Chappelle, who's brilliant in his own way, tells a great story of finally getting a chance to meet Jim Carrey back in the day when he was filming that movie. And he didn't know that the entire cast and crew had been told to always treat and speak to Jim Carrey as if he was Andy Kaufman
Yeah,
in character all the time. And so
yeah.
Dave Chappelle's all excited because Jim Carrey's Jim Carrey and Chappelle isn't Chappelle yet. And he gets a chance to meet to meet Jim Carrey. There I go. And he is absolutely dismayed to find out that he has to be referred to as Andy Kaufman rather than Jim Carrey. It's a great story about how some of these actors do what they do.
But that's how well he does it. So,
Yeah.
speaking of clowns, do you want to start talking about Donald Trump first?
What do you want to start with? The shoot to kill order on the former president? Do you want to start on Michael Cohen? Speaking of clowns, and the testimony at the trial? I don't know.
Look, anytime you rely on a known perjurer to be your key witness, you're going to have some issues. I mean, look, is there any doubt? The problem is there any doubt in your mind that Donald Trump paid her off for her silence and washed the money through business records? The problem is I don't think they proved it, but
Right.
Of course he did that. But I always said this prosecution was the weakest prosecution. I don't know why they did it. It just gives him more if he gets acquitted, which is possible. It just gives him more fodder. I'm hoping for a hung jury. I've got to assume there's some Trump supporter and some Biden supporter on the jury that nobody knows about.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. I mean, they don't ask you in jury selection who you voted for, do they?
No.
I mean,
No, but they can research you. I mean, remember they give you your name. So
yeah, I mean, you can go on social media and see what you're posting. You can, there's so many ways to do it. But yeah, I'm hopeful that there's a hung jury, that there's one Trump person on there who realizes that this whole thing is just freaking bullshit and move on.
It's not bullshit. It's true. It's just not worthy of the time we're taking to do it.
It may. I don't have any doubt that he paid her. I don't know the mechanical nature of it, how it all happened. I don't know why he paid her. First of all, I don't know why he fucked her in the first place, but that's just me.
Well, I understand why maybe he wouldn't want his wife to know that.
Yeah, but when you can go home and sleep with that rather than that pig Stormy Daniels.
How many examples in our world have there been?
No.
I mean, seriously.
All right, I got Stormy Daniels. I got Melania Trump.
Well, but from his, first of all, somebody like Trump.
What are you looking for?
Because he wants whatever woman he wants at the given time.
Well, I mean, Jesus, there's 8 million better than that.
But he wanted to say with a porn star.
Christ, I can go over here to Lewiston and find better than that. I'm sorry, Lewiston. I didn't mean that. I was just kidding.
But you've lost all of our listeners in Lewiston now. Thank you.
Viewers too.
I didn't say that. You did.
I know. I understand that. So, all right. So what are you saying? That shoot to kill order from the DOJ was no big deal?
It's a standard FBI search warrant. It's in every FBI search warrant, you dolts.
No kidding.
God, what? People have got, look, I understand if you think CNN is biased or New York Times is biased.
They're biased.
I think Fox News is biased. But I'm not going to the Daily Mail or the New York Post or the Australian Sky News for my information. Ever. Ever.
It just makes for a good podcast. That's all.
It does.
It's good content.
So other than Donald Trump wanting Joe Biden to take a drug test.
Right. That's also he did. And there was a classic shot last week, 2 different times where Biden was giving a speech where in one you could barely see his eyes, and the other one he's like this. So they got him doped up on something to fight off that
Well,
dementia
first
of
of all,
his.
if you can't take some medication to fight off dementia.
I'm
We wouldn't
kidding.
have anybody with Alzheimer's.
They give him something to pep him up.
So they give him a B12 shot. Mick Jagger takes one before every concert.
Have you seen Mick Jagger in concert during this tour right now? He
Yeah.
looks like he's 15.
Because he takes B12 vitamin
Well,
shots.
so what?
I think that's fine. It's a vitamin. I'm all for it. I'm okay with it. Listen, you want to take cocaine before doing a debate? Okay, by me.
Yeah.
You can usually, whatever drug you take to hype up, you can usually tell. And when you're coming down, you can tell that too.
I do want my candidates drug tested, though, all of them. So
Really,
I think if you're running for road commissioner, you should take a drug
I
test.
just want different candidates for office, is what I want.
Yes, so am I. We've had this discussion before about 80-year-old candidates. I don't care what side you're on. I'm tired of the whole thing. So Trump's ahead in many key battleground states right now as we sit here on May 23rd. Last time when Biden beat Trump, it was the basement theory because of COVID. Can he come back? Either regular campaigning where you can see all of the warts of his dementia, or do you keep him in the basement and go that way to
No, I
make
don't
up the
think
difference?
you don't keep him in the basement at all. And I think his strategy, the political strategy, which I think is incorrect, is I'm a better president than Donald Trump. That's not going to win you the election. That's not going to win the election. First and foremost is the economy. Okay, that usually is what drives most elections. Stock market's got an all-time high, but inflation is still up there, and so that usually knocks out. I mean Nixon won because of inflation, Ford lost because of inflation, Carter lost because of inflation. I mean
So
inflation kills presidents.
you and I are in different income brackets. I think you can acknowledge that.
You make far more than I do.
That's right. I make way more money than you do. So are you better off now economically and in every single way now than you were 4 years ago?
The problem is that the president isn't the cause of inflation. This is the lesson.
Government causes inflation. It prints too much money, puts too much
So
money
you
in.
know why Donald Trump had such low inflation in the first 2 or 3 years of his?
I don't care why.
Because Obama in the last year of his presidency had a huge increase in labor hirings. The problem is it's not, you can't look at 4 years and say, oh, look how higher.
Look who you're being photobombed by.
What?
Behind you. Look who you're being photobombed by.
My dog. I didn't even see her.
I got my cat. My cat right here won't leave me alone.
Hey, maybe we'll get Lewiston back now. The point is this: presidents don't cause high gas prices. Presidents don't cause inflation. They just don't. Okay, and presidents get hurt. I mean, that happens to presidents. They get hurt by it. Look at the Reagan midterms in 1984. He got slaughtered because of inflation. He didn't cause the inflation. He's a very fiscally responsible president, right? So it's not the president, but people perceive it as wanting a change.
But Trump needs to pound that into the ground during the campaign. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Gas is $1.50 more a gallon. Your groceries, a bag now costs you $100
Hey,
as
look at
opposed
prices
to
last month.
25.
Last month, all the consumer prices came down. Look, I agree that making that argument is fine. What Biden needs to do to win the election, which I think he can do. I don't think, as we sit here today, I think Trump will get reelected. He has to say, listen, he's got to address the middle class. Who's here for you? Donald Trump is the elite. I am a working class hero. Labor, blue collar workers, right or wrong, doesn't matter. He's got to say, I'm going to make your wages higher. I'm gonna save your jobs. That's what he's got to do if he wants to win. His message is I'm a better person than Donald Trump. Not going to win the election.
Yeah, and I don't think people are at the point anymore since Bill Clinton about people's persons, about who you are. It doesn't really matter.
Well,
They want to be able to afford stuff. But I don't, let's get away from Trump and
No
Biden because
compare. I mean, and remember, I think Bill Clinton should have been impeached
I
and
know.
resigned from office, but there's no bar anymore at all.
All right, so your guy Biden trying to buy votes as he is with debt cancellation, with student debt cancellation, canceled a bunch more.
Yeah.
I want you to, maybe you can answer this question for me. Where do my kids, Peter and Jessica, go who have both paid back their students' loans? Where do they go to get reimbursed for theirs? Can you help me out with that? Give me
Sure,
a number
sure you
or a
go.
contact
Sure.
information.
Do you want me to put your cell number on the podcast?
Sure.
Because they're gonna have to call you. Look, I don't believe in student loan forgiveness, but you got to admit, from a campaign strategy, it's a good plan. I
So
mean,
you're admitting that he's buying votes.
everybody
Okay.
buys votes.
Okay. Well, all
Everybody
right.
does. There's nobody who does anything that isn't. I mean, look at the main senators and congressmen. They every time they vote at what's going to get them reelected. That's they. Do
Yeah,
they
they
care
support that.
about? I mean, the whole lobster industry and how can you imagine Jared Golden saying, I really care more about right whales than I do lobster fishermen. I'm gonna say it.
Well, Shelley Pingree does that. Why not?
Oh, even Shelley Pingree is fighting to save the lobster industry.
Right. And Shelley Pingree gets away with it because she's in the first district, and as long as you're a Democrat in the first district, you can be a vegetable like Joe Biden and get reelected.
Exactly right. He's not a vegetable, but that's okay.
Yes, he is.
So what do you think? So I want to talk a little bit about people's referendums, because as
Okay.
you know, we should not have people's referendums. Well, unless we're going to get rid of our Senate and our House, which is fine with me, and every issue get voted on through a general election, fine. But it is so stupid to say, okay, we've got a legislature, but let's put in petitions all the time and vote on this and vote on that. And so now we have one to reverse the popular vote referendum.
Right.
Which, listen, I don't, frankly, I don't care or don't care about. The point is this: choose either representative government or anarchy. Take your pick. I don't care which one you want. Let's do one or the other, not both. I hate people's referendums. I won't sign a petition ever, ever. If somebody hands me a petition saying that every 5'5" Jewish lawyer in Maine should get $1 million, I won't sign that petition.
Boy, strong words today, Ken Altshuler.
Wait, that's not true. I would sign that petition.
I would sign it too if you would agree and sign an agreement beforehand that I get 10%.
I'll share it with you. All right. But I just hate people's referendums. I just think they're so stupid.
All right. We had a people's referendum back in the day when the turnpike got expanded, right? We voted on that, right? As I recall, we voted to.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we did. So we did, and it was a mistake, and I voted for it. Now I realize it was a mistake. So now the turnpike, they want to go west, young man. Okay, they want to go out to Gorham and
you can't get there from here. You can't get there from
here. You can't on Route 114. It just takes about 3 hours. But they want to take away the Smiling Hill Farm out there, the dairy.
Oh.
Well, yeah, if you own the fucking dairy, you'd feel different.
They get paid for it.
And here's the thing with the main turn, which I'm totally against. You don't need to. Don't build it, because you know what happens when they build more roads or widen highways? More cars come and congestion gets even worse. Come up with an alternative plan.
There is no alternative plan. Getting to Gorham is a nightmare. I'll tell you, getting to Bridgeton, just put a bullet in my head right now.
Don't go to Bridgeton.
I have court in Bridgeton. They make me go to Bridgeton. To get to Bridgeton takes me over an hour.
So what do you want to do about it? You want to build another you want to widen 302?
Yes. I want 302 to be not 2 lanes. I want 4 lanes all the way.
And guess what? Is the traffic on the main turnpike on holiday weekends any better now than it was in 1978?
The rest of the time it is. The rest of the time. It's good.
It wasn't a problem in the first place when we had 2 lanes each way from Kittery to Augusta.
Don't you remember the famous dip? The famous dip?
Yes, I love the dip.
They need to fix that. I never figured out what that dip was. I got to tell you.
But why building a connector to Gorham? Absolutely insane.
Insane. You know the connector they built before the, so if you're coming south, the old exit 8, the Westbrook exit,
Yeah.
and they built a new exit right after that.
Yeah.
That's a great new exit they built.
Yeah, well, that doesn't really, take away. Can't remember any eminent domain cases or any real disruption of the public there. This is going to be a clusterfuck, and with this quasi state agency, that it's going to be even more so. I just think if you build it, they will come. More cars are going to come here. It's going to be worse than ever. The main turnpike expansion of 25 years ago, to me, has been a colossal waste of time and money. And of course, remember, way before you came to Maine, when the turnpike came in 1955, they said they were going to sunset the tolls in 1980, and we all know where that is.
The Connecticut toll, the tolls in Connecticut, they actually took out all those toll booths. I was pretty impressed.
Let's move to Connecticut.
But can I first mention that you said the word fuck twice already?
Fuck. Yes, I've said it 3 times.
In one podcast.
Yeah, so where you want to go now, buddy?
Well, do you want me to talk about transgenders yet again?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, look.
And we're bringing this up because there is a middle school boy who's playing dress up as a girl in Oregon, who is beating girls in races out there. And at a state championship meet last weekend, the kid was booed by the crowd there. And it's you people, your argument is, well, there's only a few of these and there's not much. This is how you mainstream this stuff.
So first of all,
over again.
From a percentage point of view, under 2% of the population. Do you know how many track meets there were last weekend in the United States of America?
I don't care.
Let's say 500,000.
All right. So when Amy Doyle was a teenage girl, Amy Doyle was a very good basketball player.
It was very good.
And what if Amy Doyle's probably 5'6" or 5'7"?
Yeah.
All right. So, and she's a very good guard. So what if some 16 or 17-year-old boy back then all of a sudden decided he was a girl and he came out to the world? I'm a girl. I identify, that's the word, as a girl. I'm 6'3". I'm 200 pounds, and I'm going to post up Amy Doyle, and I'm going to beat her ass because I'm a girl now. I say I'm a girl, and people say all I have to do is say I'm a girl, and I'm a girl.
So first of all, Amy was well defended by tall girls all over the state.
There isn't a tall girl in the state who's going to be able to defend a 6'3", 200-pound guy.
Who was the great Bugsy? What's his name? The famous basketball player was 5'7" or 8.
Bugsy Bogues, 5'3".
5'3". 5'3".
I can.
Okay, so first of all, let me ask you a question. Do you think a boy pretends to want to be a girl just to be able to beat them at a track meet?
I have not done a study into mental illness, so I don't know why. Because these people, anybody, adult kid, they're mentally ill.
Genders are not. You cannot describe them as mental ill. Being transgender is not a mental illness.
Yeah, you're mentally ill. Bruce Jenner is mentally ill as they come.
So let me ask you a question.
What a nutcase.
Are gays mentally ill?
Huh?
Are gays mentally ill?
They're not trying to be another sex, Ken.
Wait a minute. They're attracted to their own gender. Why is that not mental illness?
They're not trying to be another gender.
Not trying to be anything. They identify.
So you're going to tie in homosexuality with transgenderism and say they're the same thing.
I'm saying it's wiring. It's internal mental wiring. And I'm telling you that if a person thinks, feels, identifies as a man or a woman, the fact that their physical attributes don't mirror that doesn't mean that psychologically, mentally, and emotionally, they're not that gender.
Jesus Christ, I've got to get you some meds now, too.
My second point is that when you look at the statistics, and I gave you the example last week of the University of Pennsylvania boy to girl, man to woman swimmer, who when he went to the national NCAA swim meets, came in last place. So at the end of the day, and I know women and men who compete against transgender men and women, although it's not very often because the population is very small, and they understand and appreciate their identification. Amy would have no trouble, zero problem playing basketball against a boy who truly identifies as a girl. Now, I will
How
tell
do you know? What's the test for somebody to know that they truly identify?
because actions speak louder than words. If they go around, if they bind their chest, if they want to use the girls' bathroom or boys' bathroom, if they wear dresses, high heels, if they do, and if they cut off their genitalia,
They don't. That's just it. They don't cut off their genitalia.
but they do take hormones, and hormones soften the muscles. Hormones have lessen the testosterone, so that advantage a true testosterone-driven man may have over a woman, and I know many women who could beat the stuffings out of me in virtually every sport,
Well,
is diminished by the use of hormones and hormonal treatment. You need to be educated, my friend. You need to be educated. Okay. By the way, I just heard yesterday again that Cher did get voted into the Hall of Fame.
who?
Cher is in
There?
the Hall
Oh,
of Fame. I needed to mention that. Okay. Before we go, I need to do my annual rant about Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
yes, you do.
Now, I know
Now,
everybody's
let,
got
let, let me let me lay it out there. Memorial Day and Veterans Day. I just Googled it. Honor the sacrifices of innumerable individuals who sacrifice themselves to preserve the freedoms of all Americans that we enjoy. With Memorial Day, which is Monday, remembering those who gave their lives, and Veterans Day, honoring everyone, dead or alive, who served in the armed forces. Go.
Now, I respect the military. It is a career choice. Let's not forget this. It's a choice to go in the military. Lots of benefits from going in the military, but yes, like police officers, like fire people, you put your life on the line, and I'm not willing to do that. So great that they'll do it. You only need one day. I understand that Veterans Day is for dead and alive. Covers everybody. You're dead, you're alive, you get honored. You don't need to. Now, I like the Monday holiday. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to change the Monday holiday. But it's ridiculous that we have 2 days for veterans, and actually more because there's other celebrations, other days. One day, pick which one you want. I choose Veterans Day because I like to honor the living and the dead, but you don't need 2 days. It's ludicrous, ridiculous.
I love having 2 days. I like differentiating between the two. It's not a huge issue for me, but I think it ought to stay the way it is. For instance, I love having Columbus Day off. I don't know about you.
And Indigenous People Day.
No, it's Columbus Day, Ken.
In the state of Maine, my friend, it's Indigenous People Day, as it should be, because as you know, Columbus led the white invasion that destroyed most of the native people in North and South and Central
In
America.
1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
And
That's
gave
what they
everybody
taught me in
syphilis.
school, and I am not going to let go on. I'm not moving on this issue. Not going to move on it. And Biden has dementia too.
Anything else you want to say before I say goodbye to you?
No,
You have
I think
Memorial Day plans? Memorial Day plans? You're gonna go
not right now. No, I'm still dealing with I'm still damaged goods. I'm on the injured list with a bad hip, so not really able to ride Velma right now, which sucks. I can't play golf either. Can't think of the golf balls I'll save by not being able to play golf. But
then that
if
means you can't play baseball either.
anybody's got a extra large right hip they're not using, I'd like to have it, please.
So is it gonna, because you had surgery for hip replacement?
I had it replaced.
We're gonna have to do another one?
Let's just say that the doctor's hoping to avoid that. It's some sort of muscular issue. The hardware looks fine, but I've got to have a CAT scan. Hey, and at work, we just changed insurance companies. Do you know how much friggin' fun it is when you've got these pre-existing conditions with insurance companies? I've got something that the old insurance company would have absolutely rubber stamp to do. Now the new insurance company, they've got to look over and see if I actually really need this CAT scan. So I'm in health insurance limbo right now.
Well, since you have more muscles than brains up in your head, why don't you transfer some of those muscles?
If only that were true, Ken. You worked with me on the radio for 14 years. You know that's not the
You're a
case.
Neanderthal, but you're a very lovable Neanderthal.
And you are one of those people, and you're a lovely one of those people.
But have a great weekend. Have a great Memorial Day, and I'll talk to you next week, okay?
You will.